Cryptocurrency halvings are a game changer. For example, let's take Bitcoin. The BTC halving has predated every new, really, crypto bull run, Bitcoin bull run, pump, all-time high, all of that. But this video is not just about the Bitcoin halving. We're going to dive into numerous cryptocurrencies that have halving events. And all of the cryptocurrencies we're going to look at today are all mineable in some way, shape, or form. So there's a very similar relationship with that issuance, the halving, and the price fundamentals. My name is Vosk. You're on the VoskCoin YouTube channel. Looking at some major cryptocurrencies, you take the emission here, right? And we see Bitcoin tops the charts by far. Then you have Dogecoin, which is a joke cryptocurrency with a limitless supply. So that one doesn't really fit what we're talking about. But then we have Caspa, then we have Ethereum Classic, we have Litecoin, Chia, Bitcoin Cash, and several others we're going to run through. A lot of these cryptocurrencies equate to several $1 million of new coins mined per day, as well as just very viable mining sectors, mining farm deployments, and things like that. The big one to talk about is going to be the Bitcoin halving, of course. We're about 200 or so days out from the estimated halving. And probably within a year of the halving, we will see at a minimum the beginning of the next crypto bull run, Bitcoin bull run, hopefully leading to just incredible new all-time highs. We all hope and dream. One of the hottest topics in the mining game is going to be Caspa. But a lot of people don't know that the KAS cryptocurrency has an issuance reduction literally monthly and experiences a halving not every 4 years, but every year. So in October, the block reward is reduced to 164 coins. And in October 2024, the issuance for Caspa per block is going to be 82 coins. So the mining rewards will quite literally be cut in half over the next year. And the returns are absolutely nuts if you've got the right mining rig. For example, I just got in the KS3M and it's been pulling over $100 a day ever since I've got it. Again, I haven't had it very long and I have a full video breaking this miner down and all that stuff. But if you look at these earnings, right? Day one, just plugged it in. Day two, full day of earning, and it mined 0.00472 Bitcoin, which equates to about $130. Not quite as much the next day, had a little bit of downtime when I was doing some maintenance on the farm, but long story short, it's pulling well over 100 bucks. Huge shout out to ASIC Marketplace for getting this miner to us quickly. And they even sell the miner cheaper than Ice River does, which is pretty cool. So anyway, link out and don't forget to punch in the code VoskCoin to save some coin on that. But I just want to share that to illustrate how crazy profitable Caspa ASIC mining is right now. But it comes at a very heavy price point as well. This is a cryptocurrency topping charts that has been consistently putting out about $750,000 in new coins per day and has hit a new all-time high recently. But because of that, it's becoming much more difficult to mine as miner producers are rushing to release more hardware for it. The next cryptocurrency we're going to look at is going to be Ethereum Classic. Ethereum Classic is the original Ethereum unchanged, if you will. Without going into all that drama and everything, let's look at that. Ethereum is closing in on their next era reduction. It's a block reward reduction. The fourth halving was estimated for April 2019, but some charts are estimating more towards February for this reduction to happen. It's not a true halving, it's more of a block reward issuance or daily emission reduction. So instead of 2.5 ETC being released every block or minted, mined, it's going to go down to basically 2. So we are effectively seeing a 20% reduction. So if we look at this from a dollar point of view, instead of putting out $250,000 per day on average like it has been recently, there'd be about $200,000 put out. That is a big hit to Ethereum Classic miners. And that may be the difference between you turning a profit, especially if you're more towards the residential electricity rate, than not. So it's definitely something to keep your eye on. There's a lot of Ethereum Classic ASIC miners these days. These are, again, ASIC mined, application-specific integrated circuit miners. ASIC miners are purpose-built machines dedicated most oftentimes to simply one mining algorithm due to the design, the way those need to be designed. There's new and more Ethereum Classic ASIC miners. They're reaching new levels of efficiency, but with that block reward reduction, them making, maybe several bucks a day and being expensive, they may make a couple bucks a day, and they're still pretty expensive rigs. When you look at the ROI on the ETC miners, it's just not all that interesting unless you really believe that ETC is going to have some big resurgence in interest and thus drive the price up. Next up, we have Litecoin, which has been not putting out that much in daily coins mined. This halving came and went without much fanfare. Most people didn't know about it. In August of 2023, so pretty recently, the Litecoin halving happened again. Litecoin is modeled very closely after Bitcoin. Every 4 years, there's a halving and the coins are literally cut in half. 12.5 Litecoin were mined per block. Now 6.25 are mined per block. So that has already reduced Litecoin rewards down to about $220,000 per day. And we can see that over the last 24 hours. This has had a very big impact on Litecoin ASIC miners that merge mine Dogecoin at the exact same time. I showed you my KS3M that I've had hashing away on NiceHash, but I have another miner on there, actually 2 of them of the same model. They're actually the same model with different hash rates. They're similar, I guess. I'm just dancing in the mud right now. L7 Antminer, it's a leading script miner that's a mining algorithm for Litecoin Dogecoin, and they've only been pulling about $10 a day or so since the Litecoin halving. Coins have gone down, Dogecoin and LTC have bit in price since then, but these things used to pool like $20 a day before electric. Now they're only making a couple dollars a day after I pay my electricity bill. So I have felt that halving on those couple miners in a very real way. And remember, these things cost thousands of dollars, several thousands of dollars each. They're not cheap to get into at all. Now, let's look at Chia. We've talked a lot about Chia. We were collaborated with Evergreen to release our own version. I've been building a hard drive mining shed. I've taken a very heavy step into the hard drive Chia farming game. A lot of that was due to the emissions. Over $200,000 of new coins are mined on average per day on this coin. And that's still after it's down 14% in the last 7 days. The coin price on some recent Chia company layoffs, it hasn't been received well, and they're talking about dumping some of their pre-mines. So there's drama on that front in many ways. But look at the emission versus the market cap. Litecoin, 5 billion. Bitcoin Cash, 4.5 billion, right? Ethereum Classic, 2 billion. They all have a daily emission of about $200,000. Chia, XCH, has a market cap of $200 million. Percentage-wise, their emission is huge compared to their market cap. Does that mean there's a big upside, or are we dealing with a ton of dilution of their existing supply? This isn't a day for an economic discussion exactly. We're more just focusing on the halving and the stats and so forth. I just wanted to share that with you in particular because that's something that made me very interested in basically investing heavily in hard drive mining. There's nothing cheap about making your own little DIY data center. It's been much more expensive than I anticipated. But either way, they have a halving coming in 166 days. And geomining uses such low electricity, it's very hard to earn less than you burn in electricity. But it will reach a point if the daily rewards were cut in half that you're just earning so little for how expensive hard drives are, because you mine this with hard drives, basically. There's just nothing cheap about hard drives. Hard drives are relatively expensive, basically 16, 18 terabytes, refurbished model, you get them for like $200 or so. And you need at least 10 of them to start earning a couple bucks a day. You cut that in half and it's just, most people aren't gonna do it. And if you're like, well, if you believe in it that much, why don't you just buy the coin? At that point. Well, I mean, you do own the assets, and mining is an incredibly cool and addictive and novel way to participate and distribute coins and secure a network and all that stuff. Obviously, I'm a mining fan and nerd. The bottom line is 166 days to the next Chia halving. It's going to be rough, but it could be good for the long-term price action of the Chia cryptocurrency. Today's video is made possible by another proof-of-work cryptocurrency that's going to be called Neoxa. Neoxa not only has masternodes we've talked about, where I'm earning over $6 per day in passive income per masternode in their coin, but it's also a mineable cryptocurrency where they allocate 45% of their block rewards to miners. Their chain launched in 2022, so they're going to be one of the furthest projects out from their halving, which is estimated to happen in May 2026. With that logic in mind, now would be one of the best accumulation periods, especially for miners, and it's GPU mineable. Next up on our list is going to be the infamous Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash has a halving pretty much in line with Bitcoin. Estimated about 200 days. The rewards will be cut in half, and whether you like Bitcoin Cash or you hate it or you want to lick it, I don't know. Okay, I'm not even here to judge you on that today. The bottom line is that $200,000 of newly mined coins about every day are put into the pool for SHA-256 mining algorithm miners, ASIC miners, Bitcoin ASIC miners. So that tacks onto Bitcoin's emission. And there's some profit switching pools and things like that. Some people are dedicated Bitcoin Cash miners. Whatever. The bottom line is that that's a lot of daily mined coins. So if nothing else changed, which is always never the case in cryptocurrency, but let's just say nothing changed because all we can work with are just estimates or whatever. And without integrating a advanced model here, let's just say everything's the same. right? Well, then $12 million of Bitcoin are going to be mined in a year after the halving, and $100,000 of Bitcoin Cash. That is a massive blow to Bitcoin mining operations, and it's something I'm very worried about as a smaller, I like to probably think of myself as a medium scale Bitcoin miner. There's Dynex coin, which gets buzz for being GPU mineable. When we look at the emission for that, we can see that it basically has a dynamic halving where the coins per block are reduced over time and the emission percent then levels out over time. So if you're interested in that cryptocurrency, the sooner the better. And just make sure you're aware of this if you are pursuing that, because it will have a large impact. Enter Zcash, everyone's least favorite coin. They have another halving coming up soon. There's a lot of halvings on the horizon, which is really the point of this video. Zcash, ZEC, one of the worst investments of my life. The halving is projected for the first month of January 2024. The block reward is reduced to 3 1/8. At that point, it's currently 6 1/4. If my data here is correct, the bottom line is a halving is a halving. So $64,000 of new coins will be reduced to 32 grand a day, roughly, if nothing else changed. Remember, there's dedicated ASIC miners for this. These things make a couple bucks a day. If these rewards are cut in half, they will probably go negative. Zcash is also considering moving away from mining in its entirety. Zcash miners are, the outlook for them, one of the most grim miner buys, if you're actually paying attention. Monero is an older cryptocurrency, OG status at this point. $3 billion market cap, $64,000 in daily emissions. And when's the next halving? Oh, they've come and gone. So they were talking about the last halving occurring back in 2021. In 2022, Monero entered the tail emission phase. The reward remains a consistent 0.6 XMR forever. Basically, it'll just continually inflate at that rate to encourage security of the network, running miners, participation, and so forth. In addition to the tail emission, fees paid on that network go to the miners, much like many other coins we've talked about today. But it's very important to note in this scenario, because this 0.6 is it, and it's a very low emission. I mean, that's a very low coin quantity to put out for what it is, for what they're doing comparatively to these other cryptocurrencies, especially the ones that are much newer, that are not later in their life cycle, and they're basically not just moving down to such a low issuance. Because a lot of hyperinflation reduces the price of the coin. It's if you have 100 or you have 1,000, the 100, if they're the same use and utility and desire, the 100 are 10 times more valuable. But the bottom line is, this is really interesting because there's a new miner that has come out, the X5, a dedicated CPU-ish ASIC miner. We're seeing some interesting developments and stabilization and growth on that front, and it's a very stable outlook. It's a relatively low risk altcoin ASIC miner buy given this situation. Another OG coin I want to touch on is Dash. Dash has dynamic block reward reduction. Basically, just over time, the reward reduces and reduces. The countdown to the next halving is estimated to occur in the first week of 2024, and the block reward will reduce from 2.3 Dash to 2.14 Dash. It's not a big event. It's very dynamic, and it's something most miners and hodlers won't really feel. People would consider it just generally good over a long period of time. So that's one of the least stressful coins at having mechanisms to deal with, especially from a crypto miner point of view. And with $34,000 of new coins in the last 24 hours on an older cryptocurrency, it's not one of the most lucrative things in the discussion, but it is worth discussing. Right below them is going to be Nervos Network. They're putting out about just as many coins with 1/3 of the market cap, about $34,000 of new coins on average over the last 24 hours. Oh, but there's something you really need to know. I have several Antminer K7s. They're dedicated Nervos Network Eagle Song ASIC miners, right? They're CKB miners. That's all they do. And there's a halving. The first halving is happening in November 2023. This reduction, okay, this is quite literally a halving. This will cut the reward in half. This is going to put most CKB miners into the negative with how competitive CKB mining is versus the price of the coin, and now the newfound halved issuance. Not good, not good. Another coin that was very hot to mine previously and has left many people feeling just burnt is Cadena, with a $100 million market cap, $27,000 in new coins mined over the last 24 hours. Cadena has allocated their coins to basically 70% to miners and 30% elsewhere, largely their team. Looking at the issuance, they launched at 2 million tokens a month. In 2021, there's 1.94 tokens a month. And then about 5 years from launch, they have 1.69 tokens per month. These aren't halving and these aren't key dates. These are dynamically decreasing over time. And these couple of dates I just shared with you illustrate that. The decay continues over the next 100 years. Essentially, it slows the emission rate down. So again, this isn't a very big network event. It's just something to understand and be aware of, but basically it's not something most people will feel. What most people feel is the fact that this coin used to trade over $20 and now it trades for less than half a dollar at the time of recording this video. There's more coins than I even talked about today, but I tried to keep it kind of very, on topic, focused, the mining aspect, and especially the main focus here has been the coins with the highest emissions, which create the biggest mining markets, as well as not something that's, crazy pumped overnight, and it's just here for a couple days or something, not viable, long term really, if you will. And then furthermore, these are largely ASIC mined coins with the biggest miner manufacturers, whether you love them or hate them, making miners for these coins. They make it very easy to deploy mining farms dedicated to these coins. And there are services out there that allow people to completely circumvent mining those said coins, right? I mean, you take, for example, it's hard to exchange Casper right now. It's not on a lot of cryptocurrency exchanges, but it's a very profitable coin to mine if you have the right gear. Well, that's why I just put mine on NiceHash. Especially being a US citizen, it makes it even more difficult. And I don't want my coins hanging out in some shady exchange, which I'm barely allowed to even be on. I'll just grab some Bitcoin, send that right to cold storage, and I'm just gonna hodl for better days. This is an era of stacking, building. I'm having a lot of fun working on expanding my mining farm. It's really not all that profitable and it's an expensive endeavor, but I'm hopeful for greener days in the future, and I want to have mining gear deployed and the infrastructure to scale some during that period. If you try to start building when things are great, you're already behind the ball. And if you're trying to accumulate a bag of coins, once they're well under their way of appreciating, you're kind of behind the ball. So I'm doing everything I can to not feel like I squandered an opportunity to get into a lot of great positions, whether that's just simply stacking some Satoshis or building out a mining farm while everything is basically as cheap as it gets. My name is Vosk. You're on the VoskCoin YouTube channel, home of Tails Vosk, our CDO, our Chief Dogecoin Officer here. She also just celebrated her 8th birthday. We run 10 seconds of Tails in every video, and all I hope and ask of you after watching this is, if you haven't already, please subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and share the video with a mate, I know I'm going international today, that you think could benefit from this information. There is no reason why, at a minimum, everyone who mines any of these coins shouldn't be aware of this data. These halvings are critical, and unfortunately, I see a lot of noobs get wrecked because they don't even know about halvings and block reward issuance reductions, period. Or they get lazy, forget, don't research them. And that's why a lot of people are going to get burned on Casper mining, because they don't understand that this coin is halving within a year. But my point here being is, a lot of people are real bullish, they're really going in deep, and they may not understand, see the full picture. But I hope you do after this video. So that's all I got. See you later.
When you let me, baby, don't you see I'm shining?